This is what we're going to make in this course. It is a very basic willow basket made with the basic rudimentary weaving techniques, pairing at the base, wailing for the bottom and top band, and also the middle bands here, French rending sections, a basic rod border, and a basic handle. This basket specifically is made with buff willow, but it could be made with any other type of willow, and also date palm branches, which we use a lot here in Israel, and other type of branches, but for these some changes will have to be made. This is a course for complete beginners, or perhaps people who've had some experience with basket weaving in the past but don't really remember much. We're not going to go into detail regarding the techniques that we learn. We won't look at variations. We're not going to linger over theory. We're just going to learn the basic techniques and stages of making a classic willow basket while keeping it as simple and as easy as possible. So first thing we need to do is to assemble our base sticks, and I actually have one more here than what I need. So I think this one, since it doesn't look very good, it's kind of weird shaped, I'm going to put it aside for now, and I'll only use it if I need it. Now what I'll do is I'll go over the base sticks one by one and straighten them. Alright, so now, since they're not the same length, I'm going to cut them all into the same length. Oh, nice. And now what we have to do is to take half of these, in this case 3, and slice them in the middle. For this I like to use this piece of wood because I just don't want to damage this stool. You take your knife or your bodkin. Now you can measure the middle, or you can eyeball this. I have this hole here in the middle, so it helps me to assess the middle. Like that. That's one. Two, and let's do another one with a bodkin. Where's my bodkin? Here, just to show how it's done. Oops. Alright. I like to keep my bodkin on the surface and pull the base stick upwards like this. So after we've done this, we have to assemble them. If you can open it by hand, then do it. If not, you might need use your bodkin or knife. That's one. Two, and actually this might be easier from this side because it's this side is the thinner side here. So we got these 3, and you always want to assemble your sticks so that the curve faces downwards. So I might flip this one over. Now these 2. Perfect. Now let's just find the middle and we're good to go. So now we'll begin the weave with these short and thin weavers that we've prepared, and I might actually choose two of the thinnest ones here to begin. You take both their butt ends together and insert them into the opening like that, right? And we can start our weave. First one will come from the back like that towards the front, and you're going to hold it like that with your thumb. Second one from the front through the back. Now when I come back to the front with it, I let go of this one, so that I will not come back to the front like this. I'll come back to the front like this, hold it. This one through the back, let go of this one, come back to the front. You always finish your move on the front, right? And I have to come back to the front like this. Back to the front, but once again, don't go over this other weaver. Let go of it and come back to the front. And you want to weave them very tightly at this stage. All right, so now we've actually finished. We've made well, it doesn't have to be 2 rounds like I've made here, but for now we'll make it 2 rounds. And now let's see if we can get these just a bit wet to keep them from breaking while we separate. So now we'll actually start separate. So first what we do is we pre-kink our base sticks. We can actually pre-kink all the base in advance, and we continue in what we just did in pairing. So this one goes through the back and comes back to the front. This one to the back, comes back to the front. Now this one through the back, comes back to the front. And if we can, let's use our bodkin to fasten the weave here, like this. Perfect. You're always weaving with the left one of the two, right? This one is coming from the left, you might say. So it goes over this stake, behind the next stake, comes back to the front. You always finish your move on the front. To the back, separate, come back to the front. To the back and back to the front. Now once again, I think I want to fasten the weave here using my bodkin. This one has jumped to the back, so just bring it back to the front. Coming back to the front. To the back, separate, back to the front, to the back, back to the front. Now once again, let's fasten. We want to work to look nice, beautiful. They're not very easy to work with, these ones, so I'm using more water on them. This one is kinking at a weird point, so yeah, no, it's fine. Continuing as we did. the back, separate, back to the front, but it doesn't really sit very tightly. All right, good thing we have a bodkin, right? To the back and back to the front. Right, now we've actually finished separating. So now all we have to do is to continue weaving. Now after separating, the weave might be more clear to understand if you're new to this weave, which you probably are if you're taking this course. So now we have to join, because we've used up our weavers. So what we'll do, if you can see that weaver over here, we're just going to leave it in the back like that, and we're going to join the next one. We're going to come from the front, and where it should have gone out from here, the new one is going to come in like that, and from the back it's going to look like this. We're joining tip to tip here, and now I'm just going to hold it here with my finger and weave with the other weaver, and now I'm weaving with the new one. Alright, so now let's replace the next one in the back. Replacement comes from the front side towards the back like that. So both ends are in the back. So now I'm just going to hold it here and continue weaving. You always go with the left one over the right one, right? Not under it like that. Over the right one, behind the next stake, and come back to the front. Left one comes over the right one, behind one stake, and back to the front. To the back and back to the front. Many times beginners have a tendency to weave the left one underneath the right one like that, and that's not good. You should always go over it, right? Now, as we are weaving our base, the spaces become bigger and it's easier to work. Now, I don't really like what I have here, so I just want to fasten it a little bit. Yeah, that's nicer. Now, as we are working, we want to make sure to level all of our base sticks and to even out the spaces between them. So we always want to pay attention to what we're doing. Now this one, for example, seems to be up, so I'm just pushing it downwards a little bit as I weave, and it stays this way. And also I'm trying to even out the spaces. So I have 2 more of these short rods. I've prepared 6. So now I'm going to replace these ones, and now I'm going to join butt end to butt end in the back, same as we did before, right? This one comes from the front to where the old one should have come out from. Now next one. Doesn't really look very good. I'm joining one after the other, so I'm going to have to hold both of them. I think I'm going to join this one first because there was a kink there that I didn't like. So now you can see that everything kind of jumps up here, but it's okay. When we go over it, we will fasten it and fix it into place. Don't forget to pay attention to the shaping as you're weaving. Now as the spaces become bigger, it becomes easier to weave, and you actually don't have to go to the back and come back to the front as we did. You can actually do it in one movement, you know, over, behind, go behind this stake and back to the front like that, in one motion. Behind and to the front. Now we're also going over the old joint, so let's make sure to make it tight and also to fasten with our bodkin here. Let's see if a certain area doesn't look tight enough. Alright, so now the work becomes easier. Just make sure to shape your base so that the spaces between the base sticks are even and they are all leveled nicely. Now I don't want to get all the way to the very tip of these because it's going to be too thin, and I prefer to join before that. So now I'm actually going to use the longer weavers that I've prepared, and I actually think I've prepared way too much here, way too many here. I'm going to take some of these. Just want to get them wet. They feel kind of dry. Let's get them nice and wet before we start working with them. And these ones I'm going to put right here underneath my leg, so I can then take them one by one very simply like that. But before we continue here, we can actually clean the joints a little bit, and it might make our work easier. So when you are trimming, you want to make the cut diagonal, and it doesn't have to be very long. It just has to kind of gently lean upon the base stick like that. This one here, it might be too long, but this one here, this joint is fine, and this joint is fine. So now let's replace these two. This one first, we're joining tip to tip. Next one, since we're joining one after the other, you have to hold both of them like that. Don't let go for now. Alright, after making a couple of moves, we can let go. And yeah, that's it basically. You continue like that, and I'll show you how to finish the base. Now, to finish your work, you always want to finish with tip ends. That way you can taper away into nothing, and finish looks nice and neat. You can easily thread the end into the weave. but you also want to make sure that you are covering the last joins of the butt ends. So here, this is my last join here, so we're actually covering it. That way it will not jump upwards. We're continuing to weave until we actually finish those tip ends, and now we can insert them into the weave. So this one first is going from the back, and now instead of getting out right here, it gets into the weave here, just like that. Let's use our pliers here, and just have to make sure that it holds itself. Alright, now this one going to the back, and when it comes back to the front, we're going into the weave here. Perfect. Now this should hold itself nicely, so especially if we use our pliers here. Now I might have been able to do another join of tip ends and then another join of butt ends, and use more of my base sticks, but I don't want to push it too much. I think that's enough for us. I've actually prepared way too many base weavers. I think I've prepared 20. Let's see how many I've got left. 4, 6, 8. So yeah, I've actually only used 12 for this base. Yeah, so now we have to do some trimming in the back, and we've finished our base. So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. This one is not trimmed very well because it's not leaning upon the base stick. You want to cut them diagonally. The goal of your trimming is that when you move your hand across the base like that, you don't want to feel the joints. And you also don't want them to, stick up towards the bottom and disturb the stability of your base. I have this tune on the front as well. Alright, perfect round base in pairing. You can see the trimming up close here. And yeah, let's move on.